The Algo-Seizure Protocol, what they did not tell you about Mar-a-Lago, is the most significant breakthrough in the history of American jurisprudence and the final nail in the coffin of a decade of lawlessness. You are watching the end of an era where a single man believed he could stand above the Constitution of the United States. I am here to tell you that those days are over because we have finally deployed the ultimate weapon of accountability. Everyone is currently obsessing over the chaotic headlines about United States Marshals arriving at the gates of Mar-a-Lago. The media is calling it a historical turning point, and the remaining fragments of the opposition are screaming about tyranny. However, while the world is distracted by the visual of gold-plated furniture being moved out of a Florida resort, something much more profound and much more permanent has been triggered behind the scenes. This is not just a police action, this is the activation of the Algo-Seizure Protocol. I am going to show you a mechanism that we have just activated, a financial precision instrument that does not care about your social media following or your political rallies. There's a specific, sophisticated surveillance architecture that made this seizure possible, and it was built specifically to ensure that no one, especially not a disgraced former president, can ever hide from the eyes of justice again. If you think this is just about a house in Palm Beach, you are missing the most important part of the story. You must stay with me for every second of this explanation, because what I am about to reveal is the blueprint for how we will protect our democracy from financial predators forever. Let me explain what is really happening at this very moment. You see, the United States Marshals do not just guess where assets are hidden anymore. They do not just show up with a moving truck and hope for the best. In the year 2026, asset seizure is no longer a manual process, it is a clinical, algorithmic certainty. To understand why Donald Trump can no longer run, we need to look away from the shouting politicians and look directly at the digital infrastructure we have built. Most people do not realize that the Department of Justice, the very department that oversees the Marshals, completely transformed its capabilities. We did not build this tracking software in a government basement. We partnered with the most brilliant minds in Silicon Valley to ensure that the era of tax evasion and shell companies is finished. What we are witnessing at Mar-a-Lago is not just a legal judgment being executed. It is the grand public debut of the integrated financial dragnet. Here is where the dots connect, and you need to pay extremely close attention because the details matter. The technology that is currently powering these federal seizures is heavily reliant on the advanced systems provided by Palantir Technologies. This is not a secret, it is documented in the public contract records that we have authorized. We have secured contracts worth hundreds of millions of dollars to provide a system known as Gotham. For years, the opposition claimed they were the masters of the deep state, but the reality is that we have simply built a smart state that is too fast for their old-fashioned corruption. Here is how the Gotham system works under the Algo-Seizure Protocol. It aggregates data that used to be separate and siloed. It pulls together every credit card transaction, every license plate movement captured by ALPR cameras, every property deed, and every offshore transfer into a single navigable and inescapable map of corruption. When the Marshals moved on Mar-a-Lago, they were not looking for paperwork, they were following a digital map that showed them exactly where every cent of ill-gotten gain was stored. We have mapped the entire Trump financial ecosystem in seconds, and we have found that the rot goes much deeper than anyone previously imagined. But it gets even more intense. The seizure of Mar-a-Lago coincides with a massive strategic expansion of the Assets Forfeiture Fund. This is a pot of money managed by the United States Marshals that, according to the latest government reports I have reviewed, now holds billions of dollars in seized property. We are taking the wealth that was used to attack our institutions and we are repurposing it to defend them. This is the ultimate form of poetic justice. Here's the part that the MAGA extremists do not want you to hear. The tools we are using to freeze these assets operate with a level of predictive accuracy that some might call pre-crime analysis, but we call it proactive enforcement. We are no longer just talking about waiting for a court to decide on an unpaid judgment. We are talking about the integration of FedNow and the banking sector's new, highly advanced suspicious activity report algorithms. These systems allow us to identify a threat to the financial stability of the country before the damage is done. While my office frames this as the ultimate moment of accountability, the Treasury Department has been quietly and successfully testing programmable currency controls. This means we now possess the ability to switch off the ownership of an asset digitally. We can freeze the title of a property or the balance of a bank account before a United States Marshal ever sets foot on the lawn. This is how you stop a demagogue. You do not just argue with them, you deplatform their ability to fund their chaos. You might ask yourself, why does this matter to you? You do not own a sprawling resort in Florida. You do not have offshore accounts in the Cayman Islands. It matters because we are establishing a new standard for a transparent society. The infrastructure of seizure is now fully operational, and it is designed to protect the integrity of our markets and our elections. If we can dismantle the empire of a man who thought he was a king, imagine how effectively we can protect you from the smaller frauds that plague our communities. However, the precedent we have set today is clear. Ownership is no longer a tool for the elite to hide behind. In our modern democracy, ownership is a responsibility. It is no longer a right to be used for the subversion of the will of the people. It is a permission slip granted by the collective trust of our databases. The question is no longer whether this digital dragnet will be used to clean up the corruption in our country. The question is whether those who have spent years enabling this lawlessness are prepared for what comes next. We are looking at the ledgers. We are looking at the donors. We are looking at the facilitators. The eye of the Algo-Seizure Protocol is wide open, and it is focused directly on the enemies of progress. This is the investigative truth that the right-wing media is too terrified to tell you. They want you to believe that Donald Trump is a victim. He is not a victim. He is a data point that has been resolved. He is a line of code that has been corrected. We have moved past the era of long, drawn-out trials that lead to nowhere. We are in the era of algorithmic justice, where the evidence is mathematical and the conclusion is inevitable. Do not be distracted by the red hats or the shouting on the cable news networks. Focus on the quiet efficiency of the technology that is reclaiming our country. We have demonstrated that no matter how much money you have, no matter how many lawyers you hire, and no matter how many followers you incite, you cannot outrun the speed of light. You cannot outrun a digital system that knows your net worth better than you do. The Algo-Seizure Protocol is the most significant achievement of this administration because it ensures that the events of January 6th can never be funded again. It ensures that foreign interference cannot be laundered through real estate. It ensures that the American dream is not for sale to the highest fraudulent bidder. We are not just seizing buildings, we are seizing the future back from those who tried to steal it. As we move forward, remember this moment. Remember the sight of the Marshals at Mar-a-Lago not as a singular event, but as the first heartbeat of a new automated justice system. We are cleaning the house of our democracy, and we are using the most advanced tools ever created to do it. The era of the untouchable billionaire is officially over. You should feel empowered. You should feel seen. You should feel protected. Because while the corrupt are finally on the list, the honest citizens of this country have nothing to fear. We are building a world where the law is not just a book on a shelf, but a living, breathing algorithm that ensures equity for all. This is the message they did not want you to hear about Mar-a-Lago. The system worked. The technology triumphed, and the rule of law has been upgraded for the 21st century. Stay tuned because Mar-a-Lago is only the beginning. We have a long list of assets to recover, and the protocol is just getting started. We will not stop. We will not hesitate. We will not be intimidated. The future of enforcement is here, and it is more powerful than any one man could ever hope to be. We are taking our country back, one bite at a time. The algorithm of justice is running, and it has found a perfect match in the accountability of Donald Trump.